Hi, and welcome back. In this video, we will see how to handle input element text box. So handling text boxes basically. So as part of that, we will see a couple of main Cypress commands, cy.type and cy.clear. So cy.type is used to type a text in text box, and cy.clear is used to clear the uh, text that is present in the text box. Okay, so as part of this, what we are going to do is in this website there are a couple of form pages. We will validate data there. So I'm logging into the website. There, if you see in the menu bar, there is a recruitment. If you click on that, this page will appear, and in this there is a button called add. If you click on add, you will see add candidate here, and there you will see the first name, middle name, last name. These are the text boxes, and we will see how to enter the data here in all these three text boxes, and we'll see some error messages also here. Okay, if we don't type anything and try to click on save button, it is showing some error messages saying that it is required here. Okay, so here we are seeing three error messages. So the middle name is optional, so we are going to validate this form. Okay, let's jump into the code now. Okay, for that yeah, and if we go to our Visual Studio Code, there we are going to add a new spec file. I'm naming it as handle textbox.cy.js. okay, so let's describe it, give some name. I'm giving it as handle text boxes. Okay, and then method execution. So as we have seen in before one of my video, we have seen life cycle hooks. So I'm going to use before each life cycle hook here. In before each life cycle hook, what I am going to do is I am visiting the web page, and then do a login and log into that website here. So I'll copy that from the other spec files. So here you can see, here we are visiting the page and entering the username and password and submitting that form. I'm going to copy these 4 lines of code and paste it in before each life cycle hook. So to execute any spec file, it should have at least one test method, which means at least one IT method. So with just before each the Cypress test won't be executed. So if you see, if you go to our test runner, and the handle text box spec is appearing here, but if you click on it, it will say no tests found. Okay, so to run the test, there should be at least one test case. So with only before each or before with life cycle hook methods, the test won't be executed. Okay, so I am writing a test case, handle text box. Okay, and then method. So what I'm going to do, as I explained before, in this method I'm going to click on this after navigating to the dashboard, I am going to click on this recruitment link first. Okay, for that I am simply doing what I am doing is cy.contains. I am looking for recruitment, and then I am clicking on it. Okay, so after that, once I click on recruitment, this page will appear. Now what I need to do is I need to click on this button. So for that let's inspect it. Okay, and if we go to add, and if you see there is a div. Under the div there is a button. So there is orange HRM header div class. I'm going to take that one, cy.get, and as it is a class, we can access it by using a dot, and then under that there is a button. Okay, right, see, under this div we are having a button. So there are multiple ways we can access the element. So this is one of the way, or you can directly access the button by using some other attributes that are available in the website. Okay, so here in this case I am accessing the div and then the button, and then after accessing the button I am going to click on that button. So once I click on the button, I'll get the form page here. Okay, so in the form we are having 3 text boxes. Okay, the first text box is first name. If you see here there is a name attribute, the first name, and then for the middle name the name attribute is middle name, if you see here, and for the last name, so the name attribute is last name. So I'm going to access all these 3 elements by its name as we have done it before. Okay, so what I'm doing here, cy.get first, and then name is equal to first name, and then first I'm clearing if there is any text, so I am clearing it, and then I am typing some name. I'm typing my name, Naga, and we need to verify whether this whatever we have typed that is properly entered or not. So to verify that, we can use a should, and then for each element text box element we are having an attribute called value. So we need to verify the value, and then it should be Naga. Okay, so in the similar way we can validate it for middle name and then last name also. So if you see we have already seen the name is middle name, N is capital, so here N is capital, so it seems I have mistaken first name, and then middle name, and sorry, here first name, middle name, and then last name. So I'm giving a middle name as Lakshman, and here also Lakshman. So whatever I am typing here, it should have the same value, and in my last name I'm giving it as Sirpuri. So and the same value I am verifying it. Okay, so I have written this test case to validate whatever we are entering in the text boxes. so those values are present or not. So there may be a scenario where sometimes if you are entering in small letters, it will automatically convert that into capital letters. So in that scenario, you have to verify the capital letter values. Okay, so after that, I'm saving my file, and then I'm going to the test runner, and then I'm selecting a handle text box cy.js. So once I select it, so yeah, if you see, the test gets started and it find the recruitment, and it clicked on add button there. And if you see, I have typed on the first name Naga, second name Lakshman, and then last name as Chirkuri. So, and we can see all the assertions also got passed here. So Naga, Lakshman, Chirkuri. Okay, so in this way we can enter the values into the text boxes. Okay, now in another test, let's see how we can validate these text boxes. Means if we are not entering anything and try to submit it, we are getting errors, right? So here the email is mandatory. If you see the star button there, so if I click here, so we'll get a required one. Okay, so let's write a test for validating text boxes here. Okay, so write another test which validate text box. Yes, and then so when I'm executing my second test, so before each will automatically be executed, so I will get the validate page, sorry, I will get the dashboard page automatically here. So what I need to do is in my second test, I need to navigate to the recruitment and then click on add button there. So for that, I'm copying those two lines from my previous test, clicking on the recruitment link, and then clicking on add link. Okay, after that, so the first scenario what we will do is without entering anything into these text boxes, let's try to click on save button. What will happen? If you see, there are three mandatory fields are there. Okay, so this is a form. If you see, as you can observe, this is a form element. So what I will do is I will try to submit a form here. Okay, cy.get, and then I'm getting a form element there, and then use the submit one. So if I do that, I should get errors here. Okay, I should get errors here. So how many errors? 1, 2, 3 errors I should get. Okay, so to validate the errors whether I got errors or not, so if you see, there is required this label got added, and which is having class as it has a many classes, but what I'm going to take, I'm going to take this error message. So input field error message. Okay, and I'm copying it. So in this case, cy.get, as it is a class name, I am accessing with the dot operator, and then so it should be appeared 3 times, right? So as it is, you can see in the form, it is having 3 required errors. So what we need to do is like we have to check the length of that attribute, that element. So it should have 3. Okay, so let's execute up to this and whether we are able to do a successful validation or not. So for that I am saving it and I am navigating to test runner. Yeah, our first test got executed. Now validation is happening. So if you see here, so it is before, and then once we click on recruitment and then click on add button, we got a form, and we'll see we got a form, and then we submitted the form. After submitting the form, we got 3 errors. Okay, so it passed all the 3 errors. So now what we will do is we will check the error messages also here. Okay, so to check the error messages, we got 3 elements here. To check the error messages, what I'm going to do is I am going to take each element and I'm going to verify the text. Okay, so to get each element, so I'm going to take the first one. First, how I can take the first one is equal to 0, and then it should have a text of what is the error message. It is required. Okay, in the similar way I am going to verify the other 2 error messages also. Okay, I'm the first one, the second one, and then third one. So here, as it is array, we are getting all the elements as array, and array index start with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So all the 3 should have a text of error message as required. Okay, so and let's save it, and then we'll see how it executes. And if you open the second test, yeah, if you see, it should have a text of required, and the second one and the third one. So all the 3 are having a text as required. So in the next step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter some value in my first name. So for that I am accessing whatever I have written in my first test case, and then I am pasting it. So I have entered a text in my text field. So in the next time, what it should return, it should return an error message of length 2. Okay, and in the similar way I'm going to add last name, because my middle name in the form middle name is optional. So if I enter last name, the error messages text should be 1 this time. If I enter the last name, then my error messages should be 1. Okay, let's execute it. For that I'm saving the file, and if I navigate to test runner, the first test started executing, and now it's completed. It started the second one, and see, so the second test also passed, and when I enter the first name, the errors are 2, and when I enter the last name, the error messages are 1. Even if you see in the web page, the error messages are only one. So in this way we can validate errors in the form itself. So there are some cases where people may confuse. So the Cypress doesn't allow us to type empty values here. So if you see, if you wanted to test with empty values, so Cypress will not allow testing with empty values. Okay, if you save this one, sorry, let's clear the value also, and if you execute it, see, it fails because it says that cy.type cannot accept an empty string. So if you wanted to test with an empty string, what you should do is like uh, don't write anything, don't type anything, and without doing these things, just submit the form, which means just clear the things, okay, and submit the form. If there is anything in the if there is anything in the text box, clear it and then submit the form, which means that you are not entering anything on that text box. See, if you just only use the clear, it won't give any errors. So if you start typing something, if you are not entering anything in type, then it will fail. So if you see, if I clear and clear, then I'll get an error, and then you'll see there is nothing in last name field. Okay, so in this way you can validate text boxes and handle these text boxes in our Cypress execution. Thank you.